Okay. So I guess I don't have to be formal and call it to order.
We can just call it to order and say we don't have a quorum. It's going to be a work session.
Okay, great. Okay. The time is 4:38. We have 3 members of the FDPC present today, which is not enough for a quorum. And so therefore today's meeting will be a work meeting. We had no agenda items to vote on anyway, so we'll just be going through some updates from our past meeting and some look to the future for the next couple months events. And then I made a document. Amy and Suzanne, I can email it to you while you're in the meeting.
And you can, unless everyone was achieved, that's what the protocol would be.
Unless a quorum is achieved.
So we haven't been turned into a public meeting at such and such a time.
Okay.
If someone shows up.
Okay, if someone shows up, then we're
Yeah.
playing. Okay. So we'll start with committee reports. We met for a work meeting last week to go over our annual report / year-end review. So we've got, oh, here comes Joe. Hello.
Achieved.
Okay.
The version that you sent, which still needed.
It's still a work in progress. Yes. Well, I just need like copy. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But I can fill you in on that. Hi, Joe.
Yeah.
How are you? Good. Okay. Let's see. So quorum now has been achieved with Joe's present.
We knew I was coming. Didn't know when.
Yes. Okay, did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes from last meeting? And are there any changes?
No. I moved to approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Mine.
Okay. Okay. So right now I'm sending Amy and Suzanne a copy of the document. Joe, I don't know if you got this too, but this was my brainstorm of all of the things to focus on events. What? It's expensive.
You have mine too.
Yeah.
Okay.
For next year. Okay. Any updates from committee reports, outreach, financial communications, IT, or liaison?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
On top of being a part of history, we went through and developed some additional outreach items.
Oh,
You want a copy?
Oh,
You want a copy?
I was at the top of the agenda. And
No.
part of history.
You know this.
Okay, thank you.
There's a couple of things I want to go over with you too. We're done.
Meeting with.
Hi, Amy.
no, of course not.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there.
Nice to see you. We're going to start off with some of the additional outreach programs that we're talking about for 2023. Do you want me to cover yours as well?
No, go with yours, because I think it's a little different. This is awesome.
Okay. The farmer's market. We're gonna do a farmer's market in the spring and the summer in the parking lot. And Dan has volunteered to coordinate this with the local farmers. Again, it's outside the box. It's doing something that we haven't done before to get people at least in the vicinity.
It has historical roots. Get it?
That's pretty good. Yeah. And that parking lot will be the apple of your eye in the fall. Okay.
Perfect. Hey, you're rolling.
First Friday's in the field. And has anybody attended First Friday at Frick? It is a concert series that you allow amateur artists to come and play. It's almost like an open stage. People bring their picnic baskets and their lawn chairs, and it is a very nice evening. We would do that in conjunction with keeping the Heritage Center open so people can go in and out. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Would that be food trucks?
No. No, we would have a limited concession, but people would bring picnic baskets if they wanted to.
Like a Heartwood Acres.
Yeah, Heartwood Acres thing.
Where would they actually perform?
Well, they would perform in the pavilion. And the pavilion is right next to the path that comes up the Heritage Center. But, you know, the people would put their picnic blankets or their chairs out on the ball field.
Is there, and again, I know you haven't talked to, wouldn't there be softball going on, stuff like that? Is that okay just to create more of a vibe for the?
We can actually do this. It would require some coordination with McCandless Athletic Association, but that field is not used every night.
Yeah.
It is, you know, from April through July,
Yeah,
but Public Works used to run the schedule, so the Valerie or somebody in Public Works.
yeah, I started talking with Jeff about that last night. We're gonna go through that.
Some logistics.
Now, here's something that I thought would be pretty fun, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to pull this off, but Smiles on the Slopes. You know, and for many years here, we used to go sled riding on the North Park Golf Course, either number 4 or number 7, because it's both of them are very close to the parking lot. That being said, we have not been in touch with the county, and this is largely weather dependent. But I think it would really be cool if we did something like this, a family-friendly activity. The next item would be something that is near and dear to my heart. I know it's near and dear to Toby's, and that is the summer recreation program. Since Jerry Hoffman left town council, that's kind of dried up, and it's been part and parcel to just the school district running it.
It's such a good alternative program for kids that are not in active sports, organized sports necessarily. And it's such rewarding thing. You know, the typical kid might like arts and crafts better, or play some dodgeball, and just have fun in your group without it being overly organized.
You know, when I was a part of that, Toby, we did character building things. We did hiking. We brought people in from the library. We showed movies from the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. So to your point, right now, the recreation program is limited to sports. That would certainly be an element to what we're proposing. We would want to have the History Center being one of the centers. You know, if you read what I wrote here, you know, we would like to revive this with the school district in Franklin Park, Marshall, and Bradford Woods. We want to work together with them so the kids get a well-rounded situation. An alternative to this would be to have some recreation at the history at the Heritage and Cultural Center. The environmental committee has talked to us about doing a science aspect of that. And we would be contacting Dave Gray, Coach Dave Gray, to come in and do the physical fitness, physical activity stuff.
Is he an NA coach?
He's not really an NA coach, but he does off-season training for all North Allegheny athletes, and he runs programs in the school.
I don't know the name.
Moving on is the Heritage and Cultural Gala. A gala to be held in late April to celebrate the similarities and differences in the heritage and cultures of our area. I have spoken with Will Winchell, who is the pastor at St. Alexis. And the former St. Alexis Church would be available because they'll have the ceilings repaired by then. And the evening will be a sit-down dinner, dancing, and a silent auction. The next thing is something I'm pretty excited about. Lights, camera, and action in the lot. I envision one Saturday or one Friday a month, turning our parking lot into a drive-in movie for families. Putting the screen with the back of the screen facing the road and the front of the screen facing town hall. Being able to sell small concessions, maybe hot dogs, maybe candy, bottle of pop. It would be similar to Fridays in the park. Except, I mean, people would still bring their lawn chairs and whatnot, but it's a nice family activity.
Not to be a wet blanket, just that when you get into food sales, it would be county wants licensure and all that kind of stuff, so. But just to build on your thought, or just kind of maybe box things like Cracker Jack and that, simple things you could have, that kind of, that would be a lot easier to manage. How about the slope though? Is that?
Actually, I think that would be a benefit because then the movie sits up higher.
Yeah, because it slopes back towards the hall here.
You actually would look up at the screen.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, I get coordination with soccer association too.
Well, here's the thing, if it's a nighttime movie, there are no lights on the soccer field.
Yeah, you'll be gone by then.
Be done.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
yeah, you'd start at dusk.
and by that time, it's 7:30 anyway.
Mine does those over at their part.
Yeah,
In the early days, we had a couple of, with the Heritage Center, we had a couple of conflicts with the soccer club. They got the word, but they didn't believe the word when we had, I think it was our first or second celebration for anniversary celebration. So still avoid.
we had a problem with them for the car cruise this year. It was a big problem,
Yeah,
but you know what?
Coordination.
I know the head of the soccer association pretty well now. So I think that we're gonna be able to work together.
Just some coordination is good.
Night of the races, we're either gonna do this in the winter or in the fall. We would make arrangements with the company to actually come in and run the night of the races. I have people lined up to donate food, to donate beer, to donate wine, which we did for Friends of North Park. And you charge one price for admission. And then the company that actually handles the night of the races would handle, exchanges.
St. Alexis doing this for goodwill or?
No, we're gonna give them, we're gonna give them a cut. I mean, Will's not asking for a ton of money. Yeah, I think it's $200, but we gotta make sure the place is cleaned up. It's no different than if we rented the lodge.
He's a good guy.
He's a wonderful man. The next is Winter Wonderland, beginning December 3rd, the Heritage and Cultural Center will be transformed into a Winter Wonderland with Christmas decorations and a model train set, which we already got, by the way, provided by the Western Pennsylvania Model Railroad Club. Coloring books and candy are being donated for distribution to our younger visitors. Santa might, if we can coax him. Santa might make a visit on the 17th.
Excuse me, can I ask you, are you talking about this year, December 3rd?
Yes,
Okay. Suzanne.
yeah.
Okay,
And we're doing that, the Winter Wonderland in conjunction with Winterfest, which will be on December 3rd. We are doing breakfast with Santa. The McCandless Northern Allegheny Heritage and Cultural Center will host the town's young people at Breakfast with Santa at McCandless Crossing Town Square on December 3rd. The volunteer fire companies are decorating their trucks and will provide transportation to the bearded fat man for his appearances. He visits with the children. A police escort will bring the trucks into the town square. McCandless Crossing will provide tables and chairs for 50 people. We are getting a sound system donated by Amazon Prime. for use at the center. Michelle School of Dance will perform beginning at 9 a.m. and will conclude with their rendition of the Rockettes. They're gonna do a Rockette kick line as Santa comes into the place. The event will conclude at 11 a.m. Turner's Dairy, Convive, Trader Joe's, Giant Eagle, Dutz Bakery, Kretschmar's Bakery up in Beaver, and Dunkin' Donuts will be providing food and beverages for each participant. Cost for the program is $10 per person and is being promoted on the town website. It will appear on McAllis Crossing message boards beginning on Friday. On the third page, I put a bunch of activities that Abby has covered on her ACC 2023 Be a Part of History. And her list is far more comprehensive than mine.
No.
Really cool. You know, I actually, my reaction to the Heritage and Culture Gala, I put a star there and I wrote the word wow.
It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the trickiest thing is obviously the smile from the slope. We got, you know, weather permitting. That's good stuff.
Well, you know what? You guys started it, man. We're just finishing through. And we're trying to transform it. We're trying to make it more noticeable, more visible, more viable. We have enjoyed a great relationship with the library because everything that we've done has been in conjunction with Amy and her staff. Whether it be, you know, last year's Winterfest was great. The community day was great. Night out was great. So we have a great working relationship with the libraries. We're developing a great working relationship with the activities committee and with the environmental committee.
I just want to note that Amy typed in the chat for the summer rec program suggesting that we get local college age education major students to help out. That was on my goal list for next year, is to develop a relationship with students from LaRoche, not only history students, but that's a good point with education students to help with
Well, we're not
programming as well.
if I may,
Yeah.
we're not going to recreate the wheel. The foundation is already there for education. That Toby was a part of this, Jerry Hoffman was a part of this, North Allegheny was a part of this, where they would bring in college students with educational backgrounds, and they would be assistants. They would actually bring in a classroom teacher to man the centers. Now, if I had my way, we'd have 4 centers. You'd have one in McCandless, which would be either the Heritage Center or Ingomar Elementary. One in Franklin Park, which would be Ingomar Middle. We would go into Bradford Woods Elementary and go into Marshall Middle. If you had those 4, that would be great. And we will work towards that. There's no guarantees. There are too many ifs right now. The one thing that I can tell you is that there's a lot of enthusiasm for this idea, because parents need something for their kids that are not soccer junkies or baseball junkies or basketball junkies to do something in the front end of the summer. Now, if we did it here, you have a parking lot, but once you dismiss the parents from dropping the kids off at 9 in the morning, because I envision it being from 9 until noon, you know, you have a place where they can ride bikes. You have a place where they can go out onto the field and play ball if they want to. You have nature trail. I mean, you have the Vestal Nature Trail, which is not even all that far away.
Are you seeing like the infrastructure, what they've been done previously has already been set up?
Yes,
So like things in terms of insurance and
we know exactly what to do. It's a matter of just reviving it.
that's, yeah. Okay.
And of course, getting the commitment from the parties involved. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna,
Got more.
oh, sorry, you're not done.
No, I mean, did you?
Go for it.
Okay.
Keep going.
Town council has gotten in front of them. We submitted it last night. And I want to bring you up. I want you guys to see this. Amy, I can try to show this to you online. But we put 3 different signs in front of town council for their perusal and approval. We've already gotten commitments from the MIDA that will help fund this. Now, you'll notice that this one is pole sign. That is not going to meet with the new zoning regulations, so this one is gone, okay? There are members of town council that do not want an LED sign. So we kind of went about this a different way. While this is an LED sign, we can make this look like this. Now, this is a manual sign, and it puts our volunteers in jeopardy every time you go out to change it. So this, we can change it from a computer inside, or John can do it from town hall. This can show up as black and white, just like this does. So we have proposed this to be the solution. And you'll notice the base of it matches what the base of the Heritage Center is.
What's the width? About 6 feet?
It's 8 feet. It's 3 by 8.
So you're just saying the lettering.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 3 by 6. I apologize.
looks like.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just
why I was
saying
just
the
looking at
lettering
the human
would be
form and just turning it.
Well, the lettering wouldn't be different, but it could be different. If we do black and white lettering, you have to understand, if we were to sign, it's still going to have the color capabilities. So in time, you're going to be able to have somebody that wants to use color, you can use it. But I can't see us saving the money to go to something that could potentially be dangerous for volunteers.
Yeah, the static thing is not gonna be, it's not, I mean, it's just not
Is it-
not a good idea.
Is it 2-sided?
Yeah, they're all two-sided.
Okay, so you'd have a screen that has 2 sides.
Yes.
How big would the letters show up with what kind of size pipe and point do you think you'd get out of that?
You know what, Toby, I don't really know.
Probably
Yeah, I
about-
mean, it's kind of like you can kind of pop it in size wise. Remember, I had done that with those
Yeah.
photos, so you could say, you can kind
Well,
of vet that, but it's.
This is set.
No,
This
that's
is
what I mean.
stationary.
It's just,
Yeah,
This you can do whatever you want to do.
no, I understand.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, even if you do, I mean, those are some pretty big letters. There's from, let's say, the distance of a car. Will they be able to see it, understand it? I think they will if you keep things simple, like you have event tonight,
Mhm.
please come. You know, that kind of like a
Yeah,
church
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
never get too.
Well,
Too verbal.
if this is gonna be
Yeah.
similar to any, like the one they have up in Franklin Park or anything like that, you can see it perfectly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I really want to stay away from doing something that was actually outdated in 1980. You know, I mean, I'd like to stay ahead of the curve, and it's not costing us any monies as far as licensing or software costs. The software's for free. Okay, the connection is over the internet, and it's done via protected connection. So you're not going to get somebody, you know, popping out Joe Wall pictures, you know. Oh my God.
So it's branded, but with the center.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I noticed this one was McCandless.
Mhm.
This one's branded with the center, so it's better to sign up, not the count.
Here's the thing, that I don't know how the town is gonna react. We need a sign. If they want us to put Town of McCandless at the bottom or put it at the top, put ours at the bottom, I don't really care. It's semantics. I don't care.
You have this collective wisdom. I'm like, I can see his wheels turning, Kevin's wheels are turning.
No, and what you're doing here, and it's building upon what's done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still want it to work. Now, if they've approved the idea and the money, now we want it to work as a sign. You know, we want it to be branded, we want it to be, and if the town doesn't have to be there, you don't want to make something that's so busy that it's just a bunch of words that
Well,
people.
I agree with you, and that's why we put this in, because there's no way that, I mean, I've been told by different people on town council that we need a sign at the Giant Eagle Gecko up on Reichhold Road. I've been told that we need one on Memorial Drive on Route 19. Those are great locations, but they don't help the Heritage Center at all.
I was working on this is, it's all started with the Heritage Center, but if you put, without it being too busy, if you put, instead of the Heritage Center logo on, Kevin, maybe just put the town's familiar logo we've done for years at the top instead of the Heritage Center, but
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know, just
Again, I think that's,
whatever,
it depends. It's always been sort of a shade of ownership.
Yeah.
And buy-in that usually dictates what's on there.
And certainly, we gotta go, we've come so far to get this done. And, the final hurdle is next Monday, or 2 Mondays from now, on the 20th. I can't wait to get it done.
Sure.
Because, he told us, well, we don't have the money for it. We went out and found the money for it. Well, we don't
It
know
was
where.
the MIDA.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they voted unanimously to
Great.
underwrite the sign.
Great.
So,
I
I feel,
do think the idea that you have even though you have a full color functional thing, presenting it in a simpler way
In a static,
is a nice way to get around some concerns. And
So,
I think
we did a narrative for town council. It's a full proposal that explains all that.
Okay, great.
Static with capability for the future. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Be clean and honest about the candid about the approach, but this is the way the council, at least a majority, should be a majority, but anyway.
We should have a majority. I
No,
believe
I
we
mean, a
will.
majority, if the majority wants it to be active, then it should be active, and if the majority wants it to be less than that, be static, okay, that's the capability, it only makes sense, so you don't have to do this twice someday. Right,
Cool.
yeah.
And one
Thank
with the static, with the letters that you put in there, that would be almost impossible to actually keep accurate. Or
Well,
to be able to change it.
It's gonna be
quickly.
labor intensive.
6 inches of snow, we have a nice program, in
Yeah.
February, somebody has to go out there, and you don't want to end up being you all the time either.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that I wanted to cover and have on the record. I'm really proud of this group and what we've done this year. Yeah, and for the record, I will tell you, I've done a lot of neat things in my life. I've been on a state championship football team. I've played in bowl games. I've been active politically. I've had the ability to serve my country in different ways. But this is the thing that I'm most proud of. This is truly my passion. And here's why. When we started this adventure in January, Abby and I looked at one another and like, what are you gonna do? And then we enlisted Kevin, we enlisted Dawn and Dan, and we put our heads together and we figured out a direction, and we followed that direction. Tonight, I'm very proud to give you the in-kind donations that have been given to the Heritage and Cultural Centers. And we've gone through such a metamorphosis this year. We've changed the structure. I know it's been rough in times, but it's not from a lack of love for what we're all trying to accomplish. This year, in-kind donations to the Heritage and Cultural Center total $44,549. It's truly amazing. When you think about the donations for
What
the
would all of that include?
golf outing,
Yeah.
donations, Sam's Club gave us $4,925 in in-kind gifts, whether that be water, pop. BJ's Wholesale, BNY Mellon paid for all of the apparel.
So all the things that would have come out of our budget. Have been
We never had
donated.
money
Well,
for it.
but yeah, which has allowed us to raise funds. Yeah, that's great.
So that'll go in the annual report.
Yes, that's gonna be in the annual report.
And you know, I think, you know, clearly be specific because, you know, the same kind of thing is what happened when it got built, was that I may have told you the story, I'm not gonna tell you now, you want to hear it. Because the zoning hearing board's gonna need this room pretty soon, having alerted us.
Yeah.
It started with one, started with, oh, gosh, I remember Gary Miller. Gary's last name right now, he popped the check. You ever heard the term pop a check? You know what that means.
Gary Herbert.
I think it was Herbert. Popped a check, and he said, I love Joe. He collected all this stuff. I'm into it. I'll give you this check. I'll write $10,000 on this check. Or I'll have my crews do the footing and the foundation for the Heritage Center. And he said, make your decision right now, because I'm in a hurry. I said, it's a no-brainer. I'll take the footing and foundation. He said, good choice. It's probably worth about 18 grand. Did you know that? I said, like, yes, I did. So, and it just continued. Sanitary authority with the sewer line in for nothing. Water company lowered their charge on the water line to the center. Once I was able to start with one guy, say, hey, we got a developer who gives $18,000. What do you willing to do? Just like you're doing. And so the water company, Westfield Water dropped their charge from $13,500 to $1,300. And the story just goes on and on. The only entity that didn't donate something to the construction was the rental of the crane company. They said that we can't do that. And I don't know where they were from. They weren't even where it was Mark's time yet.
Bridgeville.
Maybe. Anyway, it was $3,200 already. But everything else, somebody discounted. So people that helped us out, Carolyn's dad donated at the time. I said, on and on it went. So that's cool to keep that.
Well, we've also had, monetary donations that, we don't have completed yet. Simply because if we get the approval from town council, there's, $50,000 and $40,000 in a sign that we're going to account for a donation this year. We've also had some people step up. I'll be, I've always been open with this group, and I'm not going to change now. In planning for the strategic plan and the year-end report, we're trying to create a vision for what could be. And Toby, you and I got into a discussion in the last meeting over that. So we had a former McCandless resident come in and donate his time. He's an architect. He's going to do some layouts that we're going to include in the report. And I want to see you before you leave, because we do have a sketch that I wanted to show you. And I think it does great justice to the schoolhouse motif. It really does. But, I know I probably sound like Jim Leland after a playoff loss. I'm not going to start crying, but I'm so proud of this organization, and I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish and what we've been able to do as far as our relationship with council. It's been truly remarkable. So thank every one of you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Under old business, I think this was just a copy and paste from last month's meeting, and we already talked about Friends of North Park reception.
Yeah, because we were tired last week. And we told John just to make it up.
Yeah, John was tired too. Since then, we did have John Shalkowski come to the Heritage and Cultural Center and give a presentation last week. He gave two presentations, one at 5 and one at 7. We had about 30 people for both of those, and he is just a fascinating guy. He's got lots of followers on Instagram, and we talked about how he built up his social media and how he has become the de facto historian of the North Hills, and gave
He's like the Grateful Dead.
some interesting. He's like the new Rick Seaback. I think.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, we couldn't get him to shut up.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
wouldn't stop.
We're sitting at 20 to 6. Or we're sitting at what, 20 to 7, and we got people that are coming and people that are trying to.
The parking lot's.
Parking lots of-
Start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I like John. I've known him for a long time, but he's so powerful with his knowledge of the area.
He has a lot of knowledge to share.
Yes, he
I'll
does.
just say that.
Kind of coming out of his
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah, so updates on upcoming events, breakfast with Santa, we went over that in Joe's outreach report. He also mentioned that the Western Pennsylvania Model Railroad Museum dropped off a model railroad for us to display, so that will be put up at the end of the month, probably that weekend after Thanksgiving, when we redo all of our Christmas displays. And we had planned on putting it over the glass cases in the middle, because all of those photographs from the Friends of North Park will be coming out, along with some Christmas trees. So I'm still thinking on everything that we're gonna make it into a winter wonderland, but it'll be a winter wonderland.
You know, one thing I will mention, we need to find a big wide back, high back chair for Santa. And I'm gonna, Todd Piper from over at Counts Crossing told me to try Home Goods.
Mm.
See if they'll help out.
Okay. If anyone has a source for a royal throne looking chair, please come forward. We talked about doing pictures with Santa on Saturdays in December. But as Joe mentioned, we're thinking maybe one day on the 17th. You want to do it?
Yeah, I think we'll do it for a couple hours.
Okay.
You know, 10 to noon. To do it, you know, and our original thought was we were gonna do it Saturdays and Sundays every weekend. And then I'm thinking, she's got kids. It's just gonna be it's gonna be too much, and we're taxing our volunteer base pretty heavily right now.
Yeah. Night at the races and the spring gala, we talked about that with Joe's report. Updates on liaison with environmental advisory committee. Tomorrow, the environmental advisory committee will be looking, their lecture series about water and how it is formed industry and Western Pennsylvania. That's tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock at the HCC. So registration was being done through Northland Library's registration system, and I think she said they have about 20 people coming for tomorrow. So it should be a nice evening. So hopefully that's the beginning of a lecture series for 2023 with the environmental committee as well. Okay, so under new business, I present my Heritage and Cultural Center 2023 Be a Part of History brainstorm. So I sat at my computer today and this is what I came up with as far as a history lecture series ideas for 2023. And I sent this to Dan as well because it is his subcommittee to sort of do the vetting for any history educational programming that we put on. So we are seeking volunteers to help Dan and I with that subcommittee. So if you are interested, please let us know. We have a new volunteer who runs a Marshall Township history Facebook page. So I think she's going to help us with the Marshall Township aspect of this. And she and I sat this afternoon and talked about a whole bunch of great ideas. And I'm not as familiar with Marshall Township and their history, but they certainly have a lot of it, as does McCandless and the surrounding areas. So I'll just go through these just quickly as a bullet point. Suzanne and Dick Schnupp gave me the contact information for Mr. McFeely. So I called him, Suzanne, I called him, I think a month ago, and it occurred to me today that he never called me back. So I'll try and reach out to him again to get him on the calendar for next year.
I know.
You know him?
I know Mr. McBee. I've had breakfast with him and
Great.
one of the members of our men's club.
Yeah.
How I know him is a very, very good friend with him. I will
Yes.
talk to Paul
Okay.
and have him find out if that's the right number. Or
Awesome.
maybe get in touch with them.
Yeah.
I think for Community Day about 5 years ago, I think I'll be very brief.
Oh, really?
He travels with the purple panda. And they needed a
Oh.
purple panda, so I drafted I drafted my daughter to be the purple panda, and she said, I really don't want to do that. Dad." I said, gee, I nominated you and there were no other nominations. I'm really messing government.
You volunteered her.
Yeah. Lynn Atman gave me contact information about the Covered Bridge Society in Western Pennsylvania. She said that that was a fascinating topic, so I will look into that. I know that the Nike missile site was a popular program that we did back in 2018, maybe. So thought about bringing that one back. The Harmony Line, have the PH Raleigh Museum come back. That was very well received. And I know that there were people who wanted to sign up for that, but it filled up rather quickly. So that was probably our most popular program that we did this year. So my attempt was to build upon what we've done this year and not repeat as many that we've done. So, but I think that's one that we can repeat. We've been in contact with the folks over at Pine Township, and they've got some information about Jonas Salk. They did a
100th birthday party.
100th birthday party for him, I think back in 2015, maybe. So they've got some information there, so maybe we could do some feature on Jonas Salk or some connection there. Dan has been researching the Evergreen Hamlet, so I thought maybe that could be a topic. Aspen Hospital, LaRoche Sisters of Divine Providence, their history would be interesting. Jim Haller has contacted me and said that his history of football in Pittsburgh program is completed. And then Joe has done the history of North Allegheny football. So that could be a nice high school football, excuse me. So that could be a nice combination in the fall. I've always found the Brown and Vaughn builders and Longview Acres development fascinating. I don't know if anyone else would think that's interesting.
Yep.
But that could be a really interesting topic. And then do a who was series of who was Babcock.
E.P. Babcock was the Allegheny County Director of Parks.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
Commissioner.
And I know that there's a plaque now over outside the boathouse about him, but to do a whole program of, these are the names that we see every day, but we really don't know why they're called that. So do Babcock. And then there's the whole thing of the parks in McCandless, Wall Park, Potter Park, Devlin Field, Vestal Field. Like, who are these people that these common places are named after? Pierce, McCandless, Judge McCandless. And then we could do a whole series on the farms in this area: Sorgel, Chanot, Eichner, Kalen's Farms. And then we could do a whole series on who was Espy and Carson, Peebles. I'm sure there are tons that I'm missing.
Who's that?
Hosack, yeah,
Hosack lived on Harding Road in McCandless.
yeah. So I'm sure there are tons that I'm missing, but this was just a brainstorm, a starting point.
Is there still a long when Bub's Red? It's not that old, but
A llama farm?
On Grubbs Road?
Really?
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So we could do programs on Marshall Township history. And again, we have a new volunteer who is well versed in Marshall Township history, and she gave me some names of some folks who may be able to do some presentations on different topics related to that. Camp Horn history. That would maybe be in conjunction with some folks from the Avonworth Historical Society. Vincentian Sisters of Charity. One of the sisters came into the Heritage Center a few months ago, and I spoke with her. And when is there facility still open? Like the sister?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Convent.
Thank you. Their convent. All of their historic documents are housed in Nashville, which is like the headquarters for the Vincentian Sisters of Charity. And I said, oh, that's unfortunate because we would love to have, you know, your documentation or some information, photos, something from your convent.
When
So,
this order merged, because it was getting smaller, merged with the Ascension Sisters of Charity of Nazareth,
mhm,
which is in Nazareth, Kentucky.
okay.
So there's a sister, Michelle, who's a Pittsburgher, that was put on the board.
Mhm,
She may still be on. She was a young sister, so
okay.
I can't remember her last name right now. Which is definitely, if I can think of some of these leads, I'll.
Yeah, I just got an email from that sister the other day that she contacted the facility in Kentucky and they sent her one book, I guess. So at this point, it's kind of a dead end, but hopefully in the future, we can build a relationship to have. Because it'd be nice to have that history stay in this area because no one in Nashville is gonna care about that.
Sister, I know you have a long list. Sister Prudentia is no longer with us, but she was the sister that was the, they didn't use the term mother superior.
Yeah.
They have another term for her. She met with the athletic association, the Counts Athletic Association, and agreed to donate by lease
Mhm.
15 acres. That's a story and a half.
I
Yeah.
was on the board when she did that. Matter of fact, I voted to take their offer of leasing that land for 99 years for $1.
That kind of relates to something else on here that I have noted and that Vincentian High School recently closed, but what happened to all of their information?
It's still
Like,
there.
I'd like to get their
They haven't,
yearbooks.
well, they haven't done anything yet. There's some stuff going on
Okay.
where the diocese is looking to sell the property.
Mhm,
It used to be a part of Duquesne University and their baccalaureate program, but then they split.
mhm.
So it is still a diocesan property.
Okay.
The classrooms look the same as they did when they closed the school
Oh,
down.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe you know who you can reach out to
I
see
do,
their documents.
I do.
You sit next to them at church every day.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Not every day.
Okay, moving along, Franklin Park Historical Committee. I know Amy noted that as well. Franklin Park will be celebrating their 200th anniversary next year in 2023. So they do have a historical committee. So I'm gonna reach out to them to see if we could do some sort of programming to celebrate that, do something.
That's the other thing that we need to do is we need to spend some time to go through their base.
Yes, absolutely. Dan's been working with some of the Odd Fellows to do oral history. It'd be interesting to do a lecture series on that. Old Wexford, we could collaborate with the Wexford Antiques, Cole's Tavern. Old
Collaboration with Cole's Tavern. Haven't heard that in a while.
Old Inns and Taverns. This is something I feel like you would enjoy. I want to do a program called Diners, Drive-ins and Dives, where we do, you know,
That's all me.
yeah, Totems, the Starlight and Drive-in, the
Brendan's.
Convict Inn. I mean, you could name all of them.
Sherwood Forest.
Yes,
Yes, I
I
run
love
about 8.
Venus Diner.
Yeah.
Yes, so diners, drive-ins and dives, that's happening. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but Thornhill School for Boys,
Yep.
also interesting topic. And then Scott Barrett is like the John Shalkowski of North Hills retail history. So maybe he could do something on Northway Mall. There are lots of historic components to McKnight Road. Yeah, Billy's Roadhouse, which used to be
Wiggins Tavern.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's history there.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of history. So I think that'd be really fun.
Don't forget the park cafe.
Oh, what?
The park cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Show them.
Okay, maybe we can have a
Hey,
revival.
You know what? Because we have a couple tablecloths from there.
Yeah.
Splatter.
Fundraising activities or events, in addition to what Joe presented Golf outings, we had talked about doing another golf outing under the lights because the par 3 is getting their lights repaired. So we do it in the evening this time. And then we also talked about doing a family golf outing at the mini golf
That's cool.
across the street as well.
And the reason, we tried to do 2 golf outings on the par 3 this year. And it just didn't work out.
The nighttime thing, that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I put Notorious North Hills on here. I thought that was a wonderful event. I don't know how much we could recreate it if we do it every single year, but just throwing it out there. We'd obviously have to talk to Diane about that. And then the brick program, as Joe mentioned in our last meeting, he found a new vendor for the bricks. That would be an easy fundraiser to get back together for 2023.
And if I may, to that end, we're going to announce the brick program and the breakfast with Santa.
Okay, cool.
You're gonna have a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, a lot of different people there.
Take it with you. With a show and tell.
Yeah.
This could be you.
Yeah, I
It's a good
think
gift.
it's a really nice gift.
Mhm.
So,
Other event activity ideas, I would like to talk to the activities committee about hosting treasures in the trunk in our parking lot this year, if that's a program that they're going to continue to do. Continue to host the EAC lecture series, summer camps for students. As Joe mentioned, we need to get in contact with the homeschool students to see if we could do some programming with them. Amy, I'd like to talk to you about the North Hills genealogists too. They host programs at the library, is that right?
They do not anymore because they completely thoroughly outgrew our space. They were getting well over 100 people at their monthly meetings.
Okay.
They now do very well with the virtual component. I think they're up to 150, 200 at some of their meetings. So they're a huge group.
Okay.
But you could offer like some little smaller field trip kinds of things just to make sure, or we could do a presentation at one of their meetings highlighting some of the materials that we have.
Okay, that's a great idea. All right, I'll follow up with you about who we would need to get in contact with.
Sure, I can get you that information.
Thank you. I'd like to continue the indoor yoga during January and April, so I need to talk to Deb Sagan about that and the AAC. They've put that on hold through the holiday season, so hopefully they're going to pick that up again in January. And then as it gets warmer, if it's inclement weather, rather than canceling it, I'd like them to host it at the HCC inside. The farmers market, we already talked about. The photo scanning. I'd like to have a photo scanning party, I guess, where people bring their own family historic photos and scan them and make them a part of our database.
Abby, I've been wanting to do that for years. I would love to help with that and provide a bunch of scanners and train the volunteers how to scan it. You got to collect the data at the time.
Yes.
And if we can get releases, we can also upload that into the Historic Pittsburgh database.
Wonderful. Okay. I will also follow up with you on that then. Continue to host the NA class reunions. Movies in the parking lot we talked about. Collaborate with fire, EMS, and police for education programs. In addition to National Night Out, October is like fire prevention or prevention?
Fire prevention.
Yes, fire prevention month. So we could do some programming around that. Maybe talk about the Ingomar Shop and Save fire or something. I sent the EAC information about the Next Trek bench plastic bag collection. So Next Trek, if you collect, I don't know, a literal ton of like plastic bags, they give you the containers, and people from the community donate plastic bags, Ziploc bags, the bag that your cereal comes in, any sort of like light plastics like that. They pick it up and then once they reach the quota of whatever poundage, they'll mail you a plastic bench. And so you have to assemble the bench yourself, but I take my kids to the playground up at the soccer fields a lot, and there are no benches for me to sit. So I don't want to play on the playground. I just want to sit while they play on the playground. So I'm sure there are tons of locations that we could put these benches, and it's fairly easy to get.
You really gotta do a better job of hiding the athlete inside.
Yeah, yes. Maybe they can make me a cheese lounge too, so I can lay down, but so I thought that could be a partnership with the EAC. We could put one of those plastic bag receptacles in the HCC. We could put one in here in the lobby. Maybe the library would like to participate and get a couple benches. So I think that seems like a no-brainer. I've always also wanted to explore the Irish connection of Wexford, obviously McCandless. Well, that might be Scottish, but
Wexford's definitely Irish.
Wexford's definitely Irish, but
If I may,
yeah.
Mrs. Cloonan, I'm gonna have to get with you because I reached out to the Pittsburgh Harlequins thinking that it's a rugby team. It's not Gaelic football. Yeah, so,
The GAA.
okay, well, I was wasting my time, so I need to get with you because, we're starting to deal with this stuff now and really try to put it together.
Yeah, but I would say and I have the connections with GAA, the Pittsburgh GAA and the Ireland Institute.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we could do some sort of like Irish festival with music and a Gaelic games.
I'm talking a 2 or 3 day thing,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
Unfortunately, the national convention of the Ancient Order of Hibernians was here in Pittsburgh this past July. So that would have been a really nice tag on to be like a field trip for the attendees in the convention or something like that. I'm not sure when the next at least state one will be.
That would be key in us planning.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we should find out what's happening next year in terms of
Well, that's on page
people coming.
4.
It's on page 4.
Yes. Friends of North Park. That was a really well-received exhibition last year. I think if we do it again in 2023, I'd like to ask the photographers or just local photographers, not necessarily the Friends of North Park, because that's what they do, to do photos of local landmarks. So do photos in McCandless, Ross, McKnight Road, that sort of thing. So I think we could do another photography exhibition this time, rather than North Park photography, it would be landmark photography. Janine Murch, which I mentioned, her proposal to us at our last meeting, we could do a coloring book launch and then have a kids coloring competition. Again, those are with local coloring book pages of local landmarks. And then I know the police is having a toy drive this year to benefit the North Hills Community Outreach. So we could partner with them as well to collect toys at the HCC.
What might be even for your consideration. Toy drive, everybody does toy drive. When I was with the Moose, as the governor of the Moose, we actually had a dinner for the families in need. And it went a long way.
Like you would gather groceries for them and send them, or
No,
like
we
host
actually
them to
host
eat?
them to eat
Okay.
and give each kid a gift. But it's most of this stuff was being able to be sponsored anyway. So I just think it's something that we need to discuss.
Okay. Other initiatives for 2023. I was on I think it was Franklin Park's website today, or maybe it was Marshall Township's, but they have a submission form on their website where you can submit your personal testimony of, historical photos, or, I grew up in such and such street across from such and such, and this happened. So just like some sort of capturing of that historical documentation going forward. So I don't know if John, I know we're getting a new website next year. So maybe you and I can talk about
Yeah, maybe.
setting up.
Forms is pretty easy, so either way.
Yeah,
either now or
some
later.
sort of survey or something, that'd be great. Mike Funyak was approached by a donor who has a Westview Park dips car in very serious disrepair. So I've been talking to him for the past like 6 months about how we're gonna dig up this car, store it, and hopefully in the end have it displayed fully restored at the HCC. So that's high on my priority list for 2023. We would just need to get, he actually just emailed me about it today. So more details on that to come. The jukebox repair, we have a jukebox repair guy who, I don't know what the status is. Maybe, I know Dick was working on that, Suzanne, back.
Yes. Did you, do you want me to check with them or would?
He gave
haven't
me all the information, but it's just been sort of in limbo. Apparently he's been waiting for a part for, I don't know, a year.
Yeah,
So
but is that ours?
no, it's on loan from Steve Bullock.
Steve,
Okay, so we're repairing it.
But we aren't paying for
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Steve
but
was
we-
paying for
we
it, I
are
think.
facilitating the repair to it because he needed to come get the parts, so he needed access. And anyway, this is something Diane Ellis has brought up over the years, but doing a museum shop is something I would like to explore further in 2023. I want to redo the information tags on the objects on display. I want to give some support to the Duncan Heights Cemetery restoration project. Photo document scanning to put on website, which
I'm
has been an
concerned about
ongoing
that.
progress.
I'm concerned about that simply because we're trying to get people into the center.
Yeah,
And, we've talked about long-term going to innovation stations and interactive Google Earth stations.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of thwarting our progress by putting it online.
putting the photos and the documents online.
Yeah,
Really?
I do. If you keep them accessible inside the center, that's why you want the center there in the first place.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a place to go.
Mhm.
And it's gotta be multifaceted, so, not only is it a place for people to entertain their children and grandchildren and grandmother, and grandfather.
Mhm.
It's a place to go to do research and to learn, and it's a place of education.
I think though, if we scan and digitize, even if we keep it on an database and don't put it on the website, it would be nice to have digital copies of those.
I don't disagree, I'm just
Those
worried,
things.
I'm worried about putting it on the internet.
Yeah, okay.
one little compromise thought, put it using the website as a teaser. You want to see?
Yeah.
Here's the address, come on down.
Yeah, here's the full documents. Continuing collections, I know we talked about Vincentian High School has closed, possibly collecting some of their items. I want to build a relationship with the Depreciation Lands Museum. Experience kits, backpacks in the library. I know I brought this up at the beginning of the year. I bought some stuff and then lost track of it, but it's in the office. I mean, I literally haven't lost track of it, but I would like to do an experience kit for Northland Public Library. National History Day is hosted every year at the Heinz History Center. This year I was asked to be a judge for that.
That's
And
pretty right.
yes, as was the rest of this committee. Steve Bullock has been instrumental in the National History Day over the years. So I don't know what role, if any, further we can play, but I would like to participate in that again next year. And I want to build relationships with LaRoche's history department as well as NA's
And CCAC.
and CCAC. Yeah, good point. Okay, well, I won't go through the rest of these thoughts, but Kevin, you had mentioned before, you know, we should look at a calendar and see what's coming next year. So I went and did that today. Not only just like National Coffee Day, that sort of thing, but also like what day like James Reed Lambton, the guy who painted the portrait of Judge McCandless, was born on this day in 1907.
I think there is a nice combination of that with the sign. In that you could say, you know, on this day,
Yeah,
in 1900.
that'd be really
Judge
fun.
McCandless was born,
Uh-huh.
And then some of that, so just so that the sign isn't just boring.
Right.
It's a very, and it's just typography, it's just very simple.
Yep.
And that way, like people who are driving by it every day get a little history lesson,
Yeah, I love that
It
idea.
might be one, because if you generate that content, it would be kind of fun.
We
That's a
kind of
great
have an
idea.
announcement along those lines. Channel 4 is Charles Wolfhurst. He's the president of Channel 4 and lives in McCandless. They are starting a public affairs program every Sunday morning at 10 to 11. We have talked with them and they are going to sit down and talk with us about doing. Do you remember In the News on Saturday mornings?
Yes.
That went over historical events. Well, I'm very happy to tell you that we feel pretty positive that we're going to be a part of that show. And it's going to be the McCandless Northern Allegheny Heritage and Cultural Center historical moment. So it's,
You get a copy of the video, right?
I'm sorry,
You get a copy of the video.
well, you get to see it every week.
Also play it on the TV and.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
On the
And put
website.
it on our,
Put it on a website.
our TV station whenever.
Yeah, the McCandless television station.
Yeah.
Those times.
Yeah,
Put it before letter.
So if after reviewing this calendar of events, you have any additions, please let me know. Also, I wrote just a brief question on this day in history, and then some research will be needed, and Toby has provided, like, when was town hall built? Like, what did that look like?
You mean the first version or the second?
This version.
No, this wasn't all one building. This was built in stages.
Oh, I know.
Okay,
It's my job to get the second stage built.
yeah,
Well, see, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
stage 2, when did stage 2 happen? 1992?
This was the second.
Okay. Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
any little fun facts like that you'd like to see? I'd also like to use the significant dates of note to relate to our social media posts, our lecture series, and then obviously events and exhibitions. So to just see the year as a overview before we get there.
Yeah, I think developing that content, there's so many places you can repurpose it.
Mhm.
People interact with it.
Exactly.
You said social media, signs.
Yeah.
Is that something that I noticed that you said in the notes that there were a couple students who were interested in volunteering?
Yeah.
Are they students who, for history, is their interest, or are volunteering is their interest? No.
The two students,
Yeah.
well, it seems like the history is their interest. The two students I met with last week, she's a senior, she plans to major in education. I had them go through a box of photographs and both of them were just like fascinated. And I was so excited to see that
Yeah.
because I was afraid I was gonna bore them.
These everyday things, as well as the people around here, like these names.
Yeah,
I think that would be an interesting project just to, but I don't know how to research it.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. I
Dan
know.
knows how to find things, but
Yeah.
I would like to, jump in on that one and,
okay,
so if there's connections with the students, maybe I'll talk to Dan.
yeah,
How do we find out who Mr. Vestal is? And how do we find?
I
out
know who has.
Yeah, a lot of it's gonna be, interviewing people who know,
exactly.
like finding photos and finding stuff like that. I think that's almost like some of our core content,
Yes,
historical content that we can develop, but
yes.
that would be fun.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad to know that you're in on that one. Okay, does anyone else have any comments or questions on the,
I think what we ought to do is. We need to set a workshop
yeah,
for Sunday.
this Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have to have the end of year and the strategic plan in Mr. O'Malley's hands by next Tuesday.
Yes. Okay,
That being said, we need to do that. I think at the same time, we could probably, divide up and have one faction of the committee make up the calendar for next year, or a tentative calendar, utilizing a calendar.
Mhm.
And then have the other side putting together the strategic plan.
okay. Yeah, this would be the basis of, I think the last slide in that year overview document that I sent you guys was, a look to the future. So this would be a pretty comprehensive look to 2023, if these are all the things we're
My
planning, in
stuff-
addition to
My
our,
stuff goes beyond,
yeah,
yeah, just beyond 2023.
in addition,
So
so,
So you're collecting all that and doing it in Canva. That's the document of record, right? So
Correct.
you're feeding that in.
I can't
There's a
stand,
lot of pages in that.
can't stand.
it's the greatest. I
Design
disagree.
for non-designers.
Ooh.
Well, it is, it's a great tool. I mean, to create documents.
Yeah.
Where you have.
I think that was a shot across your mouth.
I know.
No, believe me,
I know.
I think, well-designed documents, everybody should create them,
Yeah,
why not?
yeah,
I mean, and if it helps to do it, then I think I'm just saying, there's a lot of information in there, a lot of
Yes.
pages,
yes.
maybe. Compress it down a little bit.
Well, Joe
But-
wanted it to be as long as it possibly, like a Bible.
No, what I wanted to be,
Close.
not what I said. I want it to be as specific to everything that we've done as possible. I want every little nuance to be covered. I want this to be so interesting that our town council members cannot set it down. That's all.
They may want an executive summary.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You can have a really long document, maybe the first page.
Well, there's lots of pictures, so you could just,
Yeah, we're not,
Just, as long as it's not redundant.
I'm not stupid. I understand. You got a budget. I was here last night too. You got another budget hearing on the 28th. My understanding is that I have 2.5 minutes to put on our dog and pony show, which is not even getting the flea off the dog. So in order to elevate that, we want to make sure that you have what you need prior to the next meeting.
okay,
Well, you gotta have a detailed version, obviously.
Yeah.
This is a historical heritage gang, you gotta have more detail.
That's
You gotta
true.
have a summary for those who are.
Yeah, but I
What's going on?
want it to be interesting.
I know. But you can do it. Kevin knows how.
No, I think I was looking through what you had, and I think there's, but there's a lot of pages that are open, so.
Well,
yes,
we still haven't filled everything
yeah.
either.
But long does not necessarily equate to it's interesting.
But what my whole point was that I wanted to go into the details on the activities that we did. And the volunteerism.
That's great.
And the volunteer hours, do we know how many volunteer hours?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, I
It's-
can
I
just
mean-
run my thing, because I usually have a lot of.
The tours. Yeah. Yeah.
You know
And I
what?
need to talk to you about that too, Dawn.
Yes,
I know.
okay.
Okay, does anyone have any other comments?
Abby, this
Yeah.
is Suzanne. I
Hi.
just wondered if they knew that we had had a meet and greet on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
Oh.
Yes. And I just wanted to know what people thought of, I mean, not doing that same thing again, but having the center be used possibly for either situations like that or a quick meeting.
Yes,
You know.
Jill?
Yes.
I really think that after talking with the family, Suzanne, I thought that was a great way to honor their memory because they loved the Heritage Center. I'm not a religious person, but to remember the person in the environment that they wanted to be remembered. And we had a memorial service at the Heritage and Cultural Center on Monday. And it was very befitting of this particular woman because she loved the Heritage Center. And you know, her family was very, very, very grateful that we made that facility available. And Abby, you know, congratulations. Suzanne, thank you for heading that up.
Yeah.
Is there some way that, and I wouldn't think you could advertise, but I'm just saying that it was a good, I'm not necessarily saying memorial services. I'm talking about other things to
Yeah.
use the center.
We
Small
do
thing.
we do have a rental policy in place. So yeah, I mean, I've had calls before about renting the facility for various meetings. Unfortunately, they haven't come to fruition, but yeah, we do have a rental policy in place.
Okay.
And you can use the center for
We
those
have
types
had
of needs.
We've had discussions with some of the Little League baseball organizations and the Greater Pittsburgh Girls Softball League. They have a North and a South division. And they're talking about using the Heritage and Cultural Center for their meeting in the spring.
Oh, okay.
One thing I did want to mention also is that this Saturday, Pine Township is having their holiday dazzle. And we are sponsoring a decorative Christmas tree for their Christmas tree decorating competition. And I guess the way it works is all the trees are lined up and you get to vote for your favorite one. And with every vote that we get a donation, either $1. I would assume it's $1. $1 a vote will be donated to the Heritage Center. So Suzanne, Claudia, and Georgette and Ruth have been helping me put together 3 Christmas trees, because in addition to that one at Pine Township, we're also doing one at Ashton Commons. They're having their own light up night on December 3rd, and they're doing a tree display through their hallway. Similar, they've asked local businesses to decorate trees, and then we're also doing trees for Winterfest. They'll be outside. And actually, I asked if after Winterfest, they could move the trees up to the side yard to the Heritage Center. I don't know how many trees they're having, but is the library sponsoring a tree decor? Yeah. So I think like the Boy Scouts and maybe Girl Scouts, or they did it last year as well.
About 6 last year. I'm not
6?
sure how many.
Okay. Yeah, so I asked if they could move the trees from the town hall parking lot over to the side yard. So I'm waiting for an answer from Jeff on that one. So yeah, it should be
You
a
bringing anybody to breakfast with Santa, Toby?
holiday season. Your grandson? He likes donuts. All right, well, if that's, anyone have anything else?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Toby, if you have.
Yeah.